my friends, it is the Nightcap on 700 WLW into another hour on this Tuesday, February 28th. Gary Jeff Walker joining us in this half hour, as I mentioned previously before the break. Our friend Rocco Castellano, personal trainer and biohacker with a brand new location that you're going to be opening up, Rocco.
That's right, Gary Jeff, at 519 Madison Avenue in Covington, starting tomorrow, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you have a little reception next Thursday on March 9th, right?
Yeah,
Just
so next Thursday, yeah, I sent you an invitation, and for the listeners, if you want to stop by 519 Madison Avenue in Covington between 5:30 and 8:30, you can actually see what biohacking technology, techniques, tools, and molecules we use to optimize your health.
Well, you've been into personal training and fitness training for a long time. How did the biohacking come back in? Just give me a quick nutshell story.
Yeah, well, if you remember, I had this crazy rage problem.
Right. Now, you had a lesion on your brain.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, and so I needed to fix that. You know, I promised my wife after beating up on my house in Albuquerque that I was in jail, and I went, I'm going to figure this out, hon. If you stick with me, I'm going to figure this out. And I've always been a little bit smarter than most doctors, and I've always done the research to figure things out. And that's what I'm mostly famous for. I'm more of a glorified mechanic and a janitor, to tell you the truth. I clean up other people's messes.
But in this case, you found ways to clean up your own mess, and fix your brain.
Yeah, and I haven't had a rage episode in a little more than 13 years, and that's when I really started the biohacking. And also, I haven't been sick. That was a huge thing, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I haven't been sick, not even a sniffle, in the same 13, almost 14 years. And I haven't had. And
you attributed that to the supplements and the things you're doing that you ingest into your body, right?
Oh yeah. Oh no. All the biohacking stuff that we do. A lot of the technology that we use, like the PEMF or the pulse electromagnetic field therapy that I do at my facility. The tonal workouts, the percussive. Like the percussive massage or the vibratory analgesia that we do, and also a pneumatic compression, cold plunge, all that kind of stuff is going to increase your health. It's going to optimize your health.
Well, it sounds incredibly fun, especially the vibromatic stuff, whatever the hell that is.
The vibratory analgesia.
Vibratory.
Yeah, a vibratory analgesia is using a vibration therapy to actually numb or to reduce pain in your bodies.
Huh.
Yeah. It's really, really cool stuff.
It sounds cool.
I love it.
Cool.
I mean, that's why I came back to Cincinnati.
Any of it, but
well, that's why I came back to Cincinnati, Gary Jeff, because I thought that I had all this knowledge from biohacking from people like Ben Greenfield, Dave Asprey, from Tony Robbins. Actually, I was in a mastermind with those guys, and I was able to be exposed to all this. Dave Asprey has this really huge conference, the Biohacking Conference. It used to be in Pasadena, and now it's in Florida. And it costs about $3,000. You can get an early bird ticket sometimes, but it's about $3,000, and it goes on for about 4 days. And you can listen to Dave. You can listen to Dr. Kelly Starrett. You could listen to Ben Greenfield.
yeah, I got you.
Many of the big biohackers out there.
The biohacking experts from around the country, all gathered in one place.
And real doctors.
Yeah, exactly. Not like you. Even though you confess that you're smarter than a lot of doctors. I
don't play one on TV. I don't attempt to even give medical advice. I just want people to understand and to acknowledge their own body, and there's different ways to enhance
and to heal your body,
heal, and all that. Naturally, without using pharmaceutical interventions, without a lot of surgical interventions.
What would you suggest for the residents in and around East Palestine, Ohio, after this terrible toxic chemical spill and the water and the air being obviously polluted? I don't care what any of the people in charge are saying about how safe it is. The residents know better from all of the symptoms they're having already, and not even what's going to come down the road. But what would you suggest to those? What are some biohacks that you could use, a person could use, in the wake of this kind of environmental disaster that spreads all these carcinogens all over the place in which they live?
Gary, Jeff, that's a great question, and
that's why I asked it.
Yeah, well, obviously, the host is going to ask a really good question, right? I would like first, I'd like to talk to the residents just to get some data, right? And
sure.
Then I want to really talk to Tricia Mackey, because I feel bad that from like the symptoms that she was talking about. Vinyl chloride is a very vicious chemical. And as a gas, why they burned it is absolutely, I don't know who was responsible for that, but that person should be fired and beat up. I want
fired and beat up.
I want physical
violence.
I'm promoting that right now, because whoever gave a permission to burn liquid vinyl chloride made it a gas, and vinyl chloride in and of itself is a cancer causing. It is a carcinogen, and when you're ingesting it, I don't care if your skin's exposed to it or you're breathing it in, it most likely will cause cancer. And it's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
It's not right now.
No, it's like the Camp Lejeune thing. Going back to 1987, and there's still the class action suits about Parkinson's and the cancers caused by exposure at Camp Lejeune. So it's the similar situation here in East Palestine, Ohio.
And I'm not sure exactly of all the exposure yet. So, depending on what kind of exposure, you're going to have like endocrine issues. You're going to have definitely cancer, brain issues. So my advice to them is, right off the bat, you want to be taking in really high-grade
antioxidants,
but not the antioxidants that you would think, like vitamin C and that kind of.
Well, what
stuff.
should you be taking then?
Definitely something like ascorbyl palmitate. It's a fat-soluble vitamin C, right? IP6, we've already talked about IP6 and all the research in with IP6 as a preventative for cancer, as well as something to heal cancer.
Okay.
Right? PQQ is a super antioxidant that we like, and also superoxide dismutase is another super antioxidant. Because superoxide, a lot of the stuff that's going to be going on is going to start to degrade tissue. Glutathione, a fat soluble or the liposomal version of glutathione, which our body already makes, but if you're exposed to toxins, it can break down your glutathione. And so and then again, the best go-to of vitamin D3, K2, right? A zinc,
Sure.
For your immunity. Those are the big things, but
and you want pretty big doses of that, don't you? Vitamin D3?
Vitamin D, you definitely want to be doing, and I know I'm going to get in a big trouble for this. However,
go ahead and say it anyway, Rocco.
The levels that doctors so-called prescribe or recommend is way too low, especially here in Cincinnati. We get no sun. We get 1 day of sun out of about 70, right? So our exposure to sun is very, very limited. So we want to be taking minimum of about 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3, not D2. Okay, D2 is the synthetic version of D3. So we want to make sure that we're getting plenty of D3, and if you're 30 nanograms per milliliter, we want you way over that at around 60, but definitely over 50. I like being at around 80. So my blood work is I'm always a little above 80. So I'm taking 5,000 IUs every single day, and then on the weekends I'll take 2 5,000s to give me, so that I can start the week with upwards of around 10,000. And there's no real toxicity they haven't seen, and they've tested over 150.
When we come back from the break, Rocco, we will talk about innate immunity versus naturally acquired immunity versus vaccinated immunity, and we'll talk about CBD.
Oh.
All right?
That's a lot.
It is. And we'll do it in about 8 minutes. So good luck. Get the motor running, baby. It's Rocco, biohacker extraordinaire, on the Nightcap on 700 WLW. It's the fastest 8 minutes of biohacking on the Nightcap. Rocco Castellano back with us. Let's get to the distinction and difference between innate immunity and natural immunity, or acquired immunity from actually being infected with something and getting over it, versus vaccinated immunity. What are your thoughts?
I have many. I have many, Gary. So for the longest time, we've been listening to the talking heads talk about natural immunity and being vaccinated to get that so-called immunity. The thing is, what no one talks about, and the pharmaceutical companies and the media and doctors really don't want you to know about, is something called innate immunity. Which,
you're born with it.
Right, which is what you're born with, what's inside of you. And a lot of times, the powers that be don't want you to understand that, because they want it to sound more complicated than it really is.
I believe this is why, and I'll give you a quick example. When COVID came knocking at our door, my family's door, my wife was laid out for the first time for about 5-6 days. She was she didn't go to the hospital, didn't have any problems breathing, but just super tired and done. No energy whatsoever. I got the same thing at the same time, and I was sick for about 6 hours, if I was even sick that long. So I obviously have some kind of innate immunity in my body that saw the COVID-19 manufactured, engineered virus and went, get out of here. Right?
And that's the same thing that happened to me. My wife got it. She had it for like a day, right? And I was kissing her. I was around her and all that. And I was begging COVID-19 to actually do something. And I was tempting fate. And it wouldn't go anywhere near me. It couldn't grab hold.
Because you believe of innate immunity, right?
Well, also, I take in, like we said earlier, about a vitamin D. My vitamin D. There's studies that showed that anyone over 60 nanograms per milliliter didn't get COVID.
Yeah.
Right? And so we know that if you're over that, you're in a better position. It was a great prophylactic. Right. Absolutely. Right. So I knew that was going to be something, but also I take in a liposomal glutathione. It's a super antioxidant. I take in IP6. I take in all the things that you're talking about. Right. That I'm already talking about. Right. So, and that's the thing. Innate immunity, we're born with. We have all the tools within our body to actually fight off most of the natural, okay, let's talk about that quickly, natural diseases. The reason why COVID-19 was such a big deal was because it was manufactured in a lab, and we're not really sure exactly what was the gain of function, but many people believe that HIV was involved as a wrapper, and also H1 was involved, to make it a more virulent. Now, that's all a theoretical. It's all assumptions. There are no facts to that whatsoever. Because the Chinese destroyed all the research information. So we have no data on that. However, the symptoms are the same. So when you're looking at any illness, you go after the symptoms, just like a Dr. McCullough said, just like a Pierre Corey said. You treat the symptoms. You don't treat the whole disease, because sometimes a disease is actually a sum of its parts, not really a whole thing. And that's why, like the respiratory stuff, happened to some people, and some people it didn't happen, right? Because of the respiratory thing could have been viral, or it could have been a bacterium. That's the reason why sodium chloride spray or ingested was a really good prophylactic, and it actually brought down the infection. Let me talk. We got about 3 minutes with Rocco Castellano, who is opening up his new storefront at 519 Madison Road in Covington tomorrow. Next Thursday is a special biohacking happy hour from 5:30 to 8:30. Got the plug in for you, buddy. There you go. Thanks. Now, tell me about CBD as it relates to COVID. So there was a big study that was just released and I just published about CBD being it's not necessarily a cure. Okay, I don't like to use those words. And treatment either. We know. Okay, I can say this with fact that CBD, when taken, and good CBD, because there's so many different types of CBD, but the high quality CBD actually binds with the spike protein, and that's important because when a CBD binds with the spike protein, it gets rid of it pretty quickly. So anything that binds with it. Now, spike proteins in most coronaviruses only last 5 days. The reason why and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the reason why the mRNA vaccine is a bad idea is because it elongates or makes the spike protein stay alive much, much longer. Now, when that happens, right, if it lasts up to what they believe it lasts to about 2 months, what happens to your immune system is is it's consistently fighting that spike protein to get rid of it.
Right.
Right. And so when you're exhausting your body and trying to fix a problem, your body gets exhausted.
Sure. And your immune system runs out of gas.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, we got to wrap up. It always goes so damn fast when you and I are talking.
Yeah.
Rocco Castellano, fitness trainer and biohacker extraordinaire. Not suggesting you rush out and get your CBD, but you might want to look at the studies and just check it out. And remember, your innate immunity may be the strongest immunity of all. And God gave that to you from the beginning. We got to take a break and come back. We'll wrap up the nightcap. We've got another hour and a half. Geez, the fur ball is coming up next on 700 WLW.